Hello coin collectors out there, welcome back to the Big D Coins channel. In today's video we are going to talk about the 1948, 58, and 68 Jefferson nickels. We'll also touch upon these two coins at the bottom right here for the foreign showcase at the end of the video. We have a half franc and a 1 cent coin. The 1 cent coin comes to you from the Netherlands. The half franc comes to you from Switzerland. Now I figured making a video about Jefferson nickels would be a great idea for today. The 1938, the first year that they came out, is a little bit overdone as far as the videos that I've done. So I figured I'd bump it up a decade, start with 1948, and then we'll go 1948, 1958, and 1968. One of these has a Denver Mint coin, which is very, very valuable in the full steps designation. Before we get into that, I wanted to give a shout out to these 5 viewers of the channel. These 5 people have been watching a lot of the videos on my channel lately, commenting. I really appreciate their support. Number 1 is Coin Intelligence. He also makes YouTube videos about coins, so feel free to go check him out if you're looking to try out a new channel. We've also got Frank M, Frank Warner, Lincoln Central Coins, and Jose Fuentes. So thank you all 5 of you, and everyone else who watches the videos and comments and encourages me to keep making daily uploads. Really appreciate that. So let's slide these out of the way, and we'll take it back to 1948. Now we've got the magnifying glass with me right here. Now for 1948 and 1958, the mint mark will be located on the reverse side of the coin. Let me flip it over and see if we've got, yep, this one right here happens to have the Denver Mint. So on the 1948, 1958, and 1958, that is where you'll see the mint mark on the coin. Now we switch over to the front side of the coin starting after 1967. So 1965, 6, and 7 did not have any mint marks on them. That's when they were trying to discourage people from hoarding the coins. And then they brought the mint mark to the obverse of the coin starting in 1967. So when we work our way to the 1968 right here, that is where the mint mark will be located. We've got a nice San Francisco mint one right here. So 1967 and after, locate the mint mark on the obverse of the coin. Now back to our 1948. So as far as the mintages go for 1948, there were 89 million made at the Philadelphia, 44 million at the Denver, and a cool 11 million made at the San Francisco Mint. Now these aren't the silver wartime nickels that you might be looking for. Those were made just from 1942 until 1945. So the melt value of these coins, unfortunately, will not be anything special. It'll be worth less than a nickel, so not really worth holding on to these for their rare metal content. Now, what you're going to also want to look for in these coins going forward is the full steps. So it's hard to talk about the Jefferson nickels without mentioning the full steps. And if you go to look up the price of your coin, you'll see kind of 2 different prices on the PCGS website for each year and each mint mark. You'll see the MS designation, a mint state designation, and you'll also see the FS designation. Now at a FS designation, at a mint state 66, the 1948 is going to be worth $2,250. The Denver Mint will be worth about $50 at that price. Excuse me, about $140 at that price, and the San Francisco will be worth about $750. So of the 3 different mints, Philadelphia Mint is the one to go with for 1948. That's where most of the value is. Now let's actually skip ahead. We're going to talk about 1968. So 1968, this one right here happens to be dated, happens to be the San Francisco Mint. But with the 1968, what you're going to want to look for is actually the Denver Mint. The 1968D, it had still high mintage. It had 91 million that were made, but the 1968D at full steps is one of the rarest coins out there. So PCGS has graded just 2 of them at 1968 Denver Mint coins that have the full steps designation. Now, the full steps are covered at length in some of my other videos, but what you want to look for is right there. See the full steps, right above Monticello, right there. kind of doing a bad job, but that's where you see the full steps. This one right here clearly doesn't have it. So the two that PCGS has graded are a Mint State 64, which they have valued at $4,000, and a Mint State 65, which they are valued at $20,000. Now keep in mind that the coin grading scale goes all the way up to 70. So if you found one that was Mint State 66, 67, 68, that would be some serious cash. And the PCGS does list recent auction prices. However, none of them have sold for that 1968D full steps designation. So one of the key takeaways from today's video is the 1968D full steps, a super rare coin. Now, if you get the chance, go through as much coins as you can to look for these 1968, and that will really increase the odds of you finding one, although they're very, very hard to find. But you might happen across maybe someone's collection from around the 60s and you could find one. Now we've got the 1958, so we went 1948, then 1968 to talk about the more valuable one, and we're going to come back to 1958 right here. So 1958, interestingly, just 17 million made at the Philadelphia Mint. There are 168 million made at the Denver Mint, and none of them were made for business class strike coins at the San Francisco Mint. So let's take a look at these ones right here. We've got a Philly right here. The first one we looked at is Philly. Then we've got a Denver, and we have another Denver. So two Denvers and a Philadelphia Mint. Now the mint marks will change a little bit as far as their exact details. That's because they weren't very consistently applied, especially in the 50s or 60s. And now we talked about some nickels, so let's bring in these coins for the foreign coin showcase. So this is what I like to do at the end of each video to show off some of my foreign coins to really spark the coin collecting interest, both in US coins and in international ones. So the one on the left is the half franc. Normally you associate the franc with France, but Switzerland uses the franc as well. So the coin on the left, let's actually just isolate that one right here. So the coin right here, the half franc, was made from 1968 until 2018, so they're still using this exact design. Its metal content is copper and nickel, has a weight of 2.2 grams, so it weighs less than a penny, has a diameter of 18.2 millimeters. And what you're looking at on the reverse right here is pretty simple. There's not much detail to it. It just says half franc 1968, and it's got a wreath going around the outside. When we flip it over, we got a little bit more detail right here. You might associate both of these symbols with Switzerland. We see Helvetica, which is a female personification of Switzerland. She's wearing a toga, she's holding a spear, and is leaning on the Swiss shield. She is encircled by the 12 stars representing the 12 cantons, in which the Confederation then later they later added 23. So kind of the 22 stars, in which they later added 23. So as far as 1968 goes, there's 20 million that are made without the mint mark, and there'll be another 44 million that have the B mint mark to it. All right, that was the Switzerland coin, which is the half franc. Now this one right here, dated 1958. So what I usually try and do is line up the years of these foreign coins with the years we're talking about for the US coins. This one is from the Netherlands. It was made from 1950 until 1980. On the obverse, we see a portrait of Queen Juliana facing the right. We also see lettering going around the outside of the coin. The lettering translates to Juliana, Queen of the Netherlands. We'll flip it over for you. Here we see the date, so 1958 as I promised. We see the denomination divided by the date right here, so pretty simple. As far as 1958 goes for the mintages of this coin, 1958 there were 34 million of them made. They don't have any mint marks to them. All right, everyone, hopefully you enjoyed the foreign showcase. We got a cool coin from the Netherlands, a cool coin from Switzerland, and before that, we talked about the 1948, 58, and 68 nickels. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you've got any feedback for me, feel free to let me know in the comments section. Thank you very much, everyone, and best of luck coin collecting out there. Enjoy!